Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Masterclass Scaling Sales and Marketing Success for Drupal Agencies. Just a short introduction first about us, about the Drupal Business Network. It started in, I think it was 2013 or 2012 in Prague, where a few agency leaders came together and we started sharing information on how to run your company and how to grow your company. And that became eventually the Drupal Business Network. And I see some people from the first hours here in the room. So it's a community for business owners and executives who strive to improve the business of Drupal agencies. We have a public LinkedIn page and a private LinkedIn group, also a Slack community for Drupal executives. And this presentation is part of it. And last night we hosted the Drupal Business Dinner, where we presented the results of the Drupal CEO survey, which we broadcasted as well. All right, this is the team. My name is Michel van Velde. I'm the founder and CEO of AbleStar, a strategy firm, and Craftmore, a creative digital agency. And next to me is, on the corner there, that's Janne Kalliola. He's former CEO of XOV. And we have Imre, he's the CEO of React Online and board member of the Drupal Association. All right, let me introduce you to the growth paradox. Technical excellence does not mean growth. Most Drupal agencies start by focusing on technical mastery. A lot of agencies have started because two developers decided to become an agency and they become really good at their work. And there was a lot of demand for Drupal and technical expertise, so growth happened. But at first growth follows, but after reaching a certain level of technical maturity, revenue and growth start to flatten because technical capability alone doesn't differentiate you anymore from the rest of the agencies. So that's the moment you must evolve from great developers into strategic problem solvers. So you have to find another position in the market space, and you have to address a different kind of target audience as well. Mostly high up there, like the CEOs, the CXO. That's where you want to be. And what we see is that a lot of agencies they're flatlining because of technical expertise, and they don't differentiate themselves. But if you want to grow, you have to grow past that hurdle. All right. Then I want to give my to.
Yeah, and typically the people end in a very, very common trap that we or they us compete on what you do and not why you do something. So there's the question you are answering is wrong one, and then you are chasing RFPs instead of leading conversations, and then you are reacting instead of creating opportunities. So probably all the agencies have been in this situation that there's plenty of work, and then and you sort of create the work yourself. That you just chase something, you chase probably your own tail at the end, and if you don't really select your battles right, and you don't provide the answer to the client that why they should select you without them actually asking the question why. It should be imminent from your material that this is the company we want to work with. You need to have the right stories, you need to touch the pain points of the client, because if you don't do, then you are just any other technical vendor. Which comes to the positioning where we also somewhat suck. Hopefully, I don't know whether the following, there are people from the following companies. We decided not to show the logos, but you might see also that your company might do the exactly same. That we build amazing digital experiences. We create Drupal, we build better, and so forth. Customers don't really care about that. They probably don't know what Drupal is. And even if they do, they don't care, because it's a tool, like a hammer. But the problem with the Drupal community and Drupal agencies is that we see as a golden hammer. And when you have that kind of magical golden hammer, then every single problem looks like a nail. And you want to use the golden hammer to bang on the nails, whether or not it makes sense from the client perspective. So your positioning should define why you matter to the client and not what you make or what you do, because that's just the consequence of selecting you because of why, and then what follows automatically. And that then you get to the conversations that really matter, and then you hopefully get the conversations earlier, because if you are a developer company, you are the second to last to be selected. The testing company is the last one. Everything else has been selected already before you, and if the previous people, like the designers, define the concept so that it's actually not wise to implement Drupal, you're out of the game. If the people that figure out the business decide that this is not something that we are going to do with web at all, but we're going to mobile apps or something else, then you're out of the game. But if you are on those tables earlier, because you matter to the client and you can provide value to the client, you can actually decide the course of action. But then you need to be really careful that you decide the course of action for the benefit of the client and not for your company, because you are soon out of the game, because then everybody knows that your position is that you try to hoard work and not solve the customer's problem. So the position and the brand is not just what you say about you, but what everybody else thinks about you. But there's a good thing, and Michel will come to that how you can actually change the position, how you can modify and define the position.
Yes. So now you probably start to understand why I have a strategy firm and a creative digital agency. So I want to be talking directly to those clients, up in the boards where the decisions are being made. All right, so the positioning framework that we use is a model we use for brands. It starts with your audience, and you have to understand your audience pain. And there's a lot of pain out there currently because AI is moving in, and there's at board level there's a lot of understanding about what AI will do to their companies and to their brands. So there's a lot of pain out there, and you can tap into that. All right. So if you understand the pain, you can make a clear promise and you back it up with proof, and then you inject your personality. It's simple, but it's rarely done in terms of your communication. So you look at your target audience, you look at their pains, you provide a promise, you provide proof, and you add a bit of personality to it. So we help healthcare organizations create compliant, scalable Drupal platforms that improve patient journeys, and we enjoy working for clients like Roche, Sanofi, and Merkel. It's a short example that we enjoy working. There's a bit of proof in there. There's a bit of personality in there. And it's just an example, and this can be done way better, of course. But it gives you an example on how to formulate and tap into the needs of in this case, the healthcare organization, because they need compliant, scalable platforms. All right. This is a tool we use it's called empathy mapping. So you actually, just look it up, Google it, and you can dive into it, and you can dive into the world of your target audience. Okay, so you can have a look at the observation of the situation. What's the functional outcome? Your prospect wants to see what are their emotional aspirations, life-changing aspirations, and social impact aspirations. I can tell you an example. I've been working for Stage Entertainment, which is an international entertainment organization. There was this youngster sitting in front of me. He became the marketing director, and he wanted to go higher up in the organization. And I sat down during the pitch and says, I have a goal with the platform I want to build. He says, what is it? I want to win awards with it, international awards, with the platform we're going to use. I knew it was an emotional aspiration and a life-changing aspiration of my potential client. And he says, yes, I want that too. And we got connected. So by tapping into these emotions during pitches, you can win basically new projects. So the jobs to be done model, we use it for brands. It starts with the observation of the situation, understand the pain, define functional outcomes, their desires. Also, it's a rather simple technique, but it's rarely done. All right, let's look at the positioning spectrum. A lot of agencies position themselves in the same spot. And if you sound like everyone else, clients choose based on price, and it's not what you want. Everybody knows this. This is the magic quadrant. Acquia always says, yeah, we're in the magic quadrant. And there's the leaders, there's the challengers, there's the niche players and the visionaries. If you look at this quadrant, you may decide where you are. The challengers, they execute comparatively well today or may dominate a large segment but does not have a roadmap aligned to Gartner's view of how a market will evolve. The leaders execute comparatively well today and is well positioned for tomorrow. I noticed there's a lot of agencies who are niche players, but you want to become a leader. And it's very simple. There's this saying, elephants dance with elephants. But there's also the simple psychological truth that if I'm a CEO and I have to give my money to an organization, I prefer to work with leaders because they know their stuff. And yesterday I told a story about there's two kinds of persons within a company. There's the hippo, the highest income paid person with a very strong opinion. And underneath him works what I call Pac-Man, professional ass covering man. Most of the time it's either IT or marketing, and they get, a challenge offered by Hippo. Says, hey, we want a new platform, we want a new website, and they start looking, in the market for agencies. So the marketing manager starts looking in the market for agencies, but he's afraid to lose his job. He's afraid to make a mistake. So where will he look? Will he look for this niche player? Or will he look for a leader? If he wants to safeguard his own position, he will choose a leader because that's, hey, I've chosen the best one in the market. So that's where you want to be. You want to become a leader. Get out of the niche. Position yourself not as a niche player, but get out there and become a leader in what you're good at. So, and this also reflects to the blue ocean and red ocean theory. Who knows the red ocean, blue ocean, red ocean theory? All right. This is a theory. When I started with Drupal in 2006, I was the first agency in the Netherlands to adopt Drupal. It's a blue ocean. There's a lot of fish out there. There's a lot of work out there. There was demand. And then 3 months later, a new shark came into my ocean. It was a madcap at the time. And then a new player came in, the Dutch Open Project, and Bialex came in. Suddenly there were 4 sharks. Within 3 years, about 20 sharks. The problem is there was not enough fish for like 20 sharks. And when you start fighting over the same fish, you start biting each other. And when a shark bites another shark, blood will appear. A blue ocean becomes a red ocean. And this is the time where you have to think, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to diversify myself, or am I going to swim into a new market? I decided to move into a market of UX and design and then strategy because I wanted to be, acting at board level. So you have to define your markets. And there's one massive market, blue ocean right now. It's called AI. It's a massive market, and all brands and all organizations in the world need to adopt artificial intelligence. So, red ocean, blue ocean, make sure that you move into blue oceans and do not stay competing in that red ocean. Right.
Yeah.
So we're off to the sales pitch.
I've been brushing up on my sales pitch over the past 2 years because I found that we, at some point, when we were talking to clients, and especially like on the first, like the pitch, We were telling about all the cool stuff that we can do, the things that we did, the things that we can do for them, the integrations that we can do, and so forth. And what they're not interested in is you. They're not interested in what your company can do. Your prospects don't want to speak with a sales representative at first, right? They want to hear about themselves, about their pains, their goals, and their dreams, and how you can help solve and achieve those. So these were quite some valuable tips that I took to heart in our sales pitches, especially the more technical ones where we love to talk about ourselves and the functionalities that we can build. Don't make it about you in your first pitch. Good sales are good listeners, not just talkers, right? Make it simple so everybody understands, right? They should be able to walk away and like, okay, this is clear. Not like, what have I just heard? Make it stick, because people remember stories, right? And make it personal, because all people connect with emotions. Now there's the anchor reference action method that I abide by, and it's a structure for your sales pitch, and it's about having an anchor that you start with. For example, we notice from similar organizations they find it challenging to keep up with AI and at the same time maintain on course with their budget. Now I'm going to make a reference, like a case, like a reference, so they can reference like, okay, so this is similar to me. You have to do some homework for this, right? Similar company XY had the exact same issues, and we solved this for them by using open source, which is cost efficient, as many AI innovations added almost daily. And then there's the action, right? So I will be happy to explain it to you and what we did for them. I already see an AI assistant helping you out with your customers on this or that, but you probably analyzed beforehand, which is a giveaway. Then there's the 6 persuasion principles by Cialdini. You might have heard about them. It's about reciprocity. When someone offers something that's nice or has value, there's bound to be some social obligation to sell them, right? So if you're like, if they like what they hear, right? Or if you helped them before, it's easier to say yes. Then obviously there's scarcity. The less something there is, the more people tend to want it. Authority. People or brands who are authoritative, credible, or knowledgeable experts in their fields are more influential and persuasive. It's like, when you book your holiday or choose someone to sell your house or in the next agency, you want to hear about others and how they perceive you and if you have authority and what you're writing about and so forth. Then there's commitment and consistency. So people tend to be consistent with earlier choices. So if you've worked for them before, even on a small thing, they don't go away that easily, right? And then liking. People tend to say yes to people they like or they're sympathetic. And then there's the social proof. So when it comes to decision making, we often look around us to see what others are doing before making our mind up. So the 6 principles of persuasion, if you look those up, there's quite some stuff out there online. And some of those are quite useful when you build your next pitch or answer the RFP.
Then let's briefly talk about the business cases. My business partner said that whenever he calls any client, says that I have been thinking about your business. Nobody has said ever that, don't you think about my business? I do it myself, but everybody has said, okay, what did you think? Funnily enough, you get to say something about that, and then if you have a business case or proposal, instead of that, okay, you should buy from us, or you should have this kind of project or whatnot, then you are in a way firmer ground. So when you pitch projects, you typically talk to the people that don't make the decisions, the final decisions. They are the people that help the decision makers to make the decisions, but the decision is done somewhere else, and then you are not in that room. So you can't argue for the best of your company because you are absent. It might be that even in the business case you are not there, but the chances are higher that you would be there, especially if you have calculated the business case and they want you to propose the business case. So you need to understand that who are the decision makers, what are the pains, and what is the impact. And typically the impact is return on investment, that how quickly you will get the money back and how much money you will earn after that. And we don't typically do that, and that requires also homework. So this example of the postal provider, that if you can cut 10% of the help desk requests that cost €6, which is surprisingly cheap price, because I've seen any numbers between 50 and 500 euros per call, depending on the business where the client is. It's 240k annually, and then it's pretty easy, not straightforward, but pretty easy to convince the client that we would take 120k, the half of your savings, as the initial project, and then maybe 30 to 60k annually to maintain, and the client wins a lot of money in very short time. The big thing here that is not said on the slides is that the business case needs to be real, because nothing gets you thrown out fast out of the door if you have a bogus business case that you think you didn't do your homework, and you don't really know, you pulled the numbers out of thin air, or you used like 10 years old numbers or something that you knew. And the best way to get the actual numbers is ask the client. Because what clients really love, that they love to talk about their own business. So if you talk with the customer care manager, that what is the average cost of a call? Because we would like to help you to reduce that cost. Or we would like to transform so that the easy cases are handled automatically, and then the humans are used for the harder ones. There was, for example, one case in Finland where the ferry operator, we have ferries between the Finland and Sweden where the drunk Finns go back and forth. So they moved the sales to e-commerce, but they didn't fire anybody, because then they used the personnel to handle the harder cases, like that there's a group of students from some school, or there's a sport club going that they require a bit more, that they want to have the meals and the cabins and something else and the ground transportation. So they can provide all of that and get more sold with the same people. Again, a really good business case. Or if you could add like 5% better conversion to the web shop, that you know that this is how we have done it for the other clients, then it might be that the client has so prospective thing that they are eager to do it. There's one client that I can't name, unfortunately, but they said to us that if you add 1 euro cent, the average purchase, we will get 11 million euros more every year. And the 1 euro cent more is not that much. Of course, you need to figure out how to do it. And then with 11 million extra earnings, you can do quite a lot with Drupal, actually.
All right. So building to grow, you have to create a structured growth engine. So here it is. Growth isn't luck, it's rhythm. You got to work for it. Positioning fuels your marketing. So once you position yourselves in the right way compared to your competitors, you distinguish yourself from the competition, it fuels the marketing machine, because you know how to address the market to be unique. And that fuels sales, of course, which fuels a lot of learnings, because you get in contact with potential clients, and yes, you get some rejections, of course, in the meantime, but you learn. And that feedback can be done to tailor-make your positioning again. And the more you spin this wheel, the faster it accelerates. And it's the organizations that thrive, that those that honor the lessons of the past while daring to design the future. So it's learning, optimizing, and it's an ongoing process. So branding and positioning, they say every 4 or 5 years you gotta reposition yourself and see what the market is like. Well, the world is in turmoil, the world is changing faster than ever before. and I would say check your positioning annually, and make sure you're staying in contact with your marketing team and your sales team, get the feedback and keep the wheel running. Okay. So every agency should communicate what they solve, not what they build. They should publish insights that attracts the right clients, not every client. And some keys to visibility: thought leadership on LinkedIn, TikTok. Believe it or not, I work for a large insurance company, and the younger generation are now searching on TikTok to learn more about insurance policies. I never thought of that. I thought it was like a dancing platform, funny dances. No, it's not true. It's a search engine, for information. So you got to be on YouTube Shorts, Reddit, really important if you want to be found and by AI agents as well. Then Reddit is a very good platform to be. Of course, the Drupal community, events, PR, press releases, etc. Case-driven storytelling. That's good. You show the proof. You show the results that you've been creating. Content built around those business cases. SEO, search engine optimization, and generative AI optimization is really important. Search engine advertising, guides, and other downloadables. Yeah. And here, yes, I didn't anonymize them. This is basically the sponsored content here. Drupal specialist, Drupal specialized team, Drupal development expert, certified Drupal team. This is how agencies in the Netherlands position themselves. We do Drupal. It's the same like we breathe air. Yeah, we know it. Yeah, but does it really? If you imagine you are a CEO, you're a CMO or a CTO, and you want to have an agency that delivers results, and you've heard something about Drupal, does this really reflect to you? We do Drupal? Nah, not really. So really redefine how you position yourselves and how you advertise. I'm sorry if your agency isn't. Sorry. Had to find some. All right. You can't close what you don't first connect with. Sales. Sales is a really important machine, and it's many times overlooked by agencies. You have to create a structured sales machine. The simple structure turns sales into a repeatable system. You go from chasing leads to orchestrating conversations. There's the ETH method, is that. So explore. So we're talking about the jobs to be done, pains and gain again, so you understand their real pain. Why is it that agencies are focusing on verticals or specialize in some verticals? Because they understand the verticals themselves. They understand the pains within those verticals and can deliver solutions for that. That's why they specialize into certain verticals. Then align and reframe their problem, solve it to build a tailored proposal, and execute, deliver, measure, and repeat. For this, your organization needs a hunter who is capable of consultative selling, not a traditional sales account manager. I'll deep dive into that a bit later, because there's different types of salespeople. So here we go. Let's deep dive into this. The maturity level of your sales organization. Not all sales relationships are created equal. As your agency matures, the way you sell and the value you bring evolves. Moving from a product seller to a strategic partner means shifting focus from what you deliver to why it matters for your client's business. I'll show you a pyramid later on. Each step of the pyramid represents a deeper level of trust, expertise, and impact. The higher you climb, the more strategic your role becomes, and the greater your long-term growth potential. Stop selling deliverables, start building partnerships is what I say. Okay, here it is. You got product sellers, and they're good. If you offer a product, if you're a SaaS provider, you need product sellers because they call, they're hunting, they pick up the phone, and they sell just a product. A lot of agencies have solution sellers. So we offer this solution. We do Drupal. We offer this CMS. This works great. And then you have the consultative seller. He starts understanding the problem and can provide a solution. But the next level, that's where you want to be. That's the strategic partner. So what's your outlook for the next 5 years? What is the goals you want to reach within 5 years? And what are the hurdles you think you'll come across? And then you become a strategic aligned partner with, most of the time, either the CEO, the CTO, the CMO. You sit down with them and you create a roadmap forward for the next 5 years. And you become a partner in achieving those goals. You're not talking about problems and we can solve those problems. No, we're talking about achieving results in the next couple of years and how to get there. So focus on what the product does. That's the product seller. Competes on price and features. As conversations are very transactional. Decisions are made by procurement or operation. Value is defined by the product itself. The service seller focuses on how well the work is delivered. Competes on reliability, speed and quality. Builds trust through consistent delivery. Slightly higher margins but still reactive. Value is defined by execution. Then the solution seller. Next one. Consultative seller focuses on understanding and advising and guiding, as I said. Leads with expertise and insights. Trusted by senior decision makers. Builds long-term strategic relationships. Values defined by partnership and impact. And the strategic partner focuses on transformation and growth. And what is it a company wants? They want to grow. That's what they want to do. So the strategic partner co-creates strategy and shares accountability also for results, is embedded in the client's ecosystem and drives innovation and long-term return on investment. That's what every CEO wants. So value is defined by shared success. All right. So you need to create a structured sales machine, and your sales success depends on balance across every stage of the sales cycle. Now raise your hands. Who manages their sales cycle? There's not a lot. Okay. So you have who has a sales pipeline? Okay, cool. Who has divided up the sales pipeline into the several stages? I know, good. That's good. Okay. So the more prospects you engage, because I've been focusing on the touch, tell, sell, and retain. And I divided sell into contracts to be created, contracts to be signed. So in the touch area, you need to have a lot of prospects. And probably 30% will go to the tell, and then another 30% go into the sell, and then you end up with a few clients which you have to retain. So the more prospects you engage in the touch stage, the more opportunities flow through the sell stage. A healthy pipeline starts very wide. So it's like fishing. You can throw a huge net and then you get some fish in the end. You can't close what you don't first connect with. So you have to create a true connection with that person. All right. Some takeaways I want to share with you. If you remember one thing, growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you treat positioning, marketing, and sales as one ecosystem. So you got your positioning, your marketing, your sales. That's what it leads to success. Technical excellence is just a baseline. Positioning is your competitive advantage. Sell business impact, not code. They're not interested in it. Structure is your marketing and structure your marketing and sales rhythm, and believe it, growth is a process, is not a project. It's an ongoing process. All right, that was it, and it's now time for questions, and I hope you have a lot of them. You can ask me anything. You can ask us anything except for our pin codes. Any questions?
So we have the microphone there. If you want to,
yeah.
Grab the microphone.
Grab the microphone, hand it over, pass it on.
Yes, I do have a question. So there are so many things you can do, and this is also a bit difficult to choose. So you mentioned, for example, ads, calls, Reddit, all types of outbound, inbound things.
Yeah.
And everyone has lots of ideas, but okay, I understand the execution, but now how to this process to improve it. and how to
Do you have a marketing person within your company?
freelancer.
A freelance marketer. Okay. So you have to get the right people at the right position, and you have to sit down with them and say, okay, but first you start with positioning yourself. Okay, how do we compare to the competition? What is it they're claiming? What's their brand claim? What's their unique selling point? What is our unique selling point? Once you have that, you can create your marketing materials. You can define a content strategy. You can define which channels are we going to publish. What is it we want to reach per channel? What's the outcome of a channel? What's the conversion rate from those channels? You start defining that, and then you start creating a content. Somebody calling here. Okay. So yes, you have to set up that marketing engine, but you also have to set up a sales engine. What I see is that most of the agencies, they do a bit of marketing. Do they well-structured sales? No, they don't. Why? Because they've been hiring an account manager. I made that mistake in the past. I hired an account manager, and then suddenly the telephones, it didn't ring. And the woman looked at me and says, "We have a problem." I says, "What's the problem then?" He says, "Well, the telephone's not ringing." I says, "Well, there's a new invention. There's buttons on it, on the telephone, and you can start dialing them. You can do outbound calling." She didn't want to do outbound calling. And, well, we had to let her go. And then I knew, damn, I was hiring an account manager who was waiting for the calls, and to come in, the leads coming in through marketing. But if that doesn't happen, and this is what's happening in the industry right now, leads are not coming in because, the market has been changing. Okay, so what can you do? You can sit down and do nothing and wait till the telephone starts ringing. I can tell you it's not going to ring by accident. No. You got to start calling. So you need to get rid of your account managers and hire a sales guy, like a true sales guy, a hunter.
Or woman.
Or woman. Sorry. Yeah. So, very good. Inclusive. Woman. Calling. Pick up the phone. So I hired a guy, and he goes, "Can you buy me a headset?" I says, "Why?" I says, "Well, I just want to lay down." And he was laying down, sit like this, start calling all day. And leads were pouring in. It was a laugh. So structure it in a way that's appropriate to the size of your organization, but work on it.
Yeah, and then the more you talk with the clients, more your salespeople talk with the clients, the better you understand what the clients want. And then when you have metrics with your channels, then you understand where your message reaches the right people and where it resonates. Because it might be that if the CEO is in TikTok, then he might not be interested about hearing business problems because he's spending just time sort of off. So you need to understand that what channel works for you, and that requires that you experiment. But if your message is completely wrong to begin with, then none of the channels work, and you will have no data to understand that which channel might work if you would have the right message. So that's why it's crucial that you will have as many client interactions as possible, and you don't tell them that how great you are, but more that what they want to achieve, why, and how, and then try to figure out that how you can be part of that game and be valuable to the client, and then you build your story around those things. So again, you can start with something that you think that this could resonate, but then you need to test it all the time.
Yeah.
And more chaotic the world goes, the faster you need to test, and the faster you need to change those things. And then you just gradually learn that what works within your industry. Some industries might say that we need to have that you need to have a proof from the other that you need to be working with our competitors, for example. Some others might say that if you have been working with any of our competitors, you are out completely. So again, very industry specific. And you need to just learn those. And it's the easiest way, or the fastest way, not the easiest way, the fastest way to learn is that you just try, and then when you are hit in the face, then you change something.
Yeah.
And then try again.
Fearlessly.
5 more minutes.
Yeah. So, and channels change as well. LinkedIn has become a social media platform, not a business platform anymore. So your business pages won't be visited that much. People are not really interested in going there anymore. So it's the personal pages that work, but not with just a picture as we did in the past. Hey, I'm at DrupalCon, selfie, and I'm great, and I'm cool. No, it doesn't work anymore. Video's working. So we've got to make videos now, short interviews.
Can we venture another question?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Any more questions?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Which method do you use?
We are recording this, so the recording doesn't
yes.
hear you, even if you do. So kindly use the other one.
Which method do you use for lead qualification? Because this is one important topic, because I think we are all losing a lot of time with leads which are not leads.
Lead qualification, yeah. Well, what we do is, first of all, we if there is, we get in contact with the client first. We want to have a personal conversation face to face. If they say we're not interested, we're not going. We're not going to do it. Why? I think when you do a large project, when you want to become a partnership, you have to look each other into the face and create a personal relationship. You're not buying from a company, you're buying from a person. So that's why your sales team needs to be really good at addressing personal needs from your potential clients. They have to build up a relationship, they have to build up trust. So at public tenders, I don't like to do it. Sometimes we do it, but most of the times I just want to sit down with the leadership team. Then I ask a lot of questions. Okay, are you the one who's making the decision? Or is there a team behind you who's making the decision? Can I have a direct conversation with them? Otherwise, I'm talking to this, unknown client. There's a puppet in between, and you've no idea who the real decision makers are and what they're looking for, and why they're choosing. You want to know if there's a match, a cultural match. There was this large organization. I was there a couple of months ago. I didn't have a personal connection at all, and I said, and he wanted to work with me. I said, we're not going to do it. And he looked at me and said, why not? I said, well, there's no personal connection, and I don't think I'm going to deliver the results you want because there's no chemistry.
So Michel, if I can add on a very practical level, all these things we put in a matrix and award points to it.
Yeah.
Right. We have a conversation around it with the sales team. We would award points like the maturity weighs heavy. If they say why does it take so much money? Because I saw it on YouTube, you can do it in an hour. Okay, maturity is very low.
Yeah.
So this is 0 points. Also, does it fall within the industries that we serve? You serve certain points, and you make a matrix for that.
Yeah. So that's you can put it in a matrix and
Budget.
Budget. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, a few practical questions that you can ask that. When this needs to be ready, if they don't have any clue, then most probably they are pretty early phase. When they are going to make a decision, do they have a budget allocated for it?
Yeah.
Is the budget secured, or is it wishful thinking that there would be budget, and so forth? So these questions, they might sound harsh or hard to ask. That sometimes that do you have money for this one, or how much money? The client might say that we have a budget, but we won't disclose it. And then you could say that. Then you could probe that that these projects typically cost 200,000 euros, and then if the client has a sort of looks like a deer in headlights, then it might be that they don't have that much budget, and then you may say that maybe we in this case it would be better that we do either proof of concept or MVP, or we do a study that would cost you 10k, that whether this would be good enough or what proof they might need. So then you can steer to something that they can afford without doing so that you press your own prices down.
We were selling discovery phases, or 10k. Discovery phase, going to find out what your needs are, everything, and then a budget will come out. You build a relationship during the discovery phase, and then budgets may open, yes or no, and you can downsize it, skill to budget. So discovery phases are.
Would you do the discovery phase for free?
No.
Never.
No, never. They're buying expertise. and I would never give it away.
So there's one thing like I brought for here, like we talked about references, right? And people look towards authority. These are cards that are made from our clients, and it has a photo of the hippo, and the logo and a quote of them. Each and one of those companies that we work for, like what they say about us, and we have them hanging like on the wall of our like on the office, because compliments you should cherish. But where other clients come in, they actually take a photo, right? So this is a very subtle, delicate little trick that's good for your team, also good for your clients.
Yeah. Any more questions? Feel free. All right.
Yes.
So in the current market environment, what's your take on inbound versus outbound? Because what we see right now is we do loads of both, and for inbound conversion rate is like 70 or 80%, like really, really high, and for outbound right now it's like 5 to 10 or something, because it's such a long game. So right now it's like a year's worth of work before they have the budgets and whatnot in many companies. So what's your take on like how would you do the mix as of like today?
Well, I would do the same actually. The thing is, outbound will be killed within 1 or 2 years. There's automatic calling agents. I don't know if you've received calls already from automatic calling agents. And as soon as I hear this computer voice, I'm like hanging up. When I get called by an unknown telephone number, I'm not picking up anymore. And that will increase within a year or 2 years when people start adopting those outbound calls. So outbound calling, yes, it's a long game. I prefer going to events, B2B events in particular sectors. Talk to people near the booth and see if I can find the decision makers over there, have a personal conversation, ask their email, and have a chat afterwards. That's a really good way to find and create new leads. But yes, I would definitely say the outbound it's a numbers game. It's the touch phase it should be.
So we are on time, but there's a coffee break, I think. So if people are like willing to give up like some of the coffee break time for another question.
One comment to the inbound outbound is also that the inbound, typically the client has made certain decisions already that they contact you, but if you want to tap earlier, if you want to go upwards on the value stream, you need to meet the clients before they have made the decisions. And then inbound doesn't work. That you need to somehow get to talk to them when they are still focusing or when they are still considering, and not make a decision that we will call, because they don't call a Drupal company for the fun of it that we would like to talk. They might go to the ad agencies back in the days that like it was like going to the zoo, that they are the creative people here, and it's really fun to watch them working, but nobody wants to come to see developer working. So you need to do a mix of these, or somehow be on the pulse of the industry and be on the pulse of the client, because if you are not, then you become a dinosaur, and then you are oil in a few years, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think we're on time.
Yeah, we're definitely on time. Any more questions? Don't be shy. You can ask us anything.
We'll be around for coffee then.
We'll definitely be around for coffee. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Cheers.